why do you love Canada so much? Why do both of you love Canada so much? And we're surrounded by Canadian fans.
You know what? Canada's been really, really good to my wife over all these years, and it's been really, really good to us as well. Certainly in 2020, it was amazing for us to be able to be in Canada, Vancouver Island, with Archie, and be able to go for hikes and be in amongst the local town and feel protected by that.
The Invictus Games are underway, well underway in British Columbia, and tonight CTV chief anchor and senior editor Omar Sachedina is sitting down with the Prince for an exclusive conversation about the Games, Harry's connection to Canada, and the inspiration he takes from his mother's legacy. Omar joins me now with more this morning. Good morning to you, Omar. So I just love that clip because you just look like two friends, you know, out at a sporting event, really cash. What struck you the most when speaking with Harry during the time that you spent with him?
Yeah, you know what, Marcia, you're absolutely right. I mean, this was a very casual conversation. I forgot at times that I was talking to Prince Harry. And, you know, you really got the sense that this is somebody who held this passion close to his heart. You know, this is the 10th anniversary of the Invictus Games happening in Vancouver, Whistler, and also on 4 First Nations this year. And by the way, this is something that he prepared for, that he studied for, to learn about Indigenous culture. He did 20 hours of studying online to prepare for these games. But, you know, you really got the sense that by talking to the athletes, by helping them through their own journeys, that this was also part of his own catharsis. You know, this is a prince, but he is also a veteran. He did 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan when he was with the British military. But there is a tremendous source of pride for him to be able to help these athletes and these competitors through their journey of healing, which, you know, he says has been transformation. And the athletes say it's been transformational for them as well. I spoke to a logistics officer, Mark Bear, who served in the CAF for 20 years, 20 plus years, I should say. And about 5 years ago, he was diagnosed with PTSD and MMD, and he didn't even tell his extended family until about a year ago that he was going through this silent battle. But when they found out that he was competing at the Invictus Games, this really opened up the door. It opened up the conversation and the discussion about talking about some of these silent scars, wounds, and battles that these veterans face each and every day.
So, in terms of Harry's personal life, Omar, I have to ask you, did you go there with him? Did he talk about some of the things we see in the headlines, the rift between the royal family? Was he opening up on that front at all?
You know, one thing he did open up about is his mother, and he is quite a private guy, so I was surprised to hear him go there. And it happened in the context of, you know, really shedding attention and shedding a light on the horrors and the catastrophes of war. And I asked him how he explained the Invictus Games to his children, and he said that the issue of landmines, by the way, came up with his son Archie, who is now 5, and he said that opened up the discussion about his late mother, Princess Diana. And a lot of us may remember that iconic picture back in 1997 when Princess Diana was walking through a live minefield. Yeah. Angola had just come out of a 20-year civil war. The country was littered with 15 million landmines at the time. And here is arguably one of the most famous women in the world, you know, raising attention about a cause that not a lot of people were talking about. And so when I was sort of sitting back on the plane ride back, reflecting on the interview and reflecting on that exchange, you know, it was fascinating and quite a poignant moment, because here you have the mother, the late Princess Diana, telling the world and her children to a certain extent about the horrors of war. And now he's doing the same with his own son. So there's this sort of generational transfer of knowledge and shedding light on conflicts that are happening in real time and really dividing the world we live in.
Yeah, and then just finally on the whole legacy of these Invictus Games, as you point out and as you're describing, Harry basically sounds like one of the guys when he's there. What does Harry see as the future of these games? What does he hope will be or come from them in years to come?
Very interesting response to that. He said he hopes there's a day when these games don't have to exist. And I think what he meant by that is that there are so many silent scars that we were talking about that these athletes face. And he hopes that there's a day when, you know, they don't have to go through these journeys anymore. But he did say on a real practical level, he's encouraged to see that, you know, these games get bigger, they get better each and every year. I mean, look, even this year, last Saturday, you had musicians like Chris Martin, Katy Perry, Nelly Furtado performing. So this does get bigger and better every year. And next year's game will be in Birmingham, England. So in some ways, it'll be a return home for the Prince, who, of course, grew up there.
Omar, thanks so much. We look forward to watching the full interview. Omar is CTV's chief anchor and senior editor, and you can watch the full conversation with Harry, Prince Harry, and the Canadian heroes tonight on CTV News at 10:30 Eastern Time.